The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
All right, good night, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Weyburn City Council for Monday, June 8th, our first meeting of June, and the first meeting like officially kicking off summer. So we got a little bit of an agenda ahead of us. Big one tonight, landfill expansion project, as well as rural water hookup, couple other things. So we'll get going, but before we get out of the gates, I'd like to acknowledge a couple of things. Councillor Heggs is unable to join us tonight, and also our youth mayor, Harper Williams, is here tonight. Now this will be the end of Harper's term as our youth mayor. She has done just a fantastic job, and Harper, thank you for all of your hard work. You've been 3 years on youth council, 1 year as youth mayor. Yes, and just done a fantastic job. So this will probably be your last meeting with us, so thank you very much. Councillor Siblowski and I had the pleasure, and I mean this sincerely, of joining Youth Mayor Williams in a meeting with our MP last week that she chaired. And no easy ride for our MP in that meeting. I would say Mr. Bonk was faced with some very hard questions from you and your peers, so your work is much appreciated, and we thank you very much for that. Thanks. Okay. Do you want to say anything? I feel like you don't. No, she does not. But I'm going to throw it out there for you. Anyways, with that, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the May 25th meetings, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would make a motion that the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning and priorities meeting held May 25th, 2026 has been approved.
Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Any errors, omissions, or changes to those minutes? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Next up, additions to the agenda. Council, any additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Administration?
Thanks, Your Worship. No additions from administration tonight.
Thank you. Tonight, no public hearings or notices, no delegations, proclamations, no petitions. Reports of standing committees. Council, any reports from your committees? Or administration, anything you'd like to update us on? All right, we will continue on. Next up is the consent agenda. 5 items on there. If I could get a motion to get those on the floor.
Your Worship, I move that the following items on the consent agenda be approved as presented. The building report for May, the cash activity for April, fire chief report for May, public works report for May, and the water treatment plant report also for May.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. So before we vote on it, any questions about the items on the consent agenda? Anything we'd want to pull off the consent agenda to dive into? Hearing none, then I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. All right, look at us. On to motions. Accounts payable, please.
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the purchases from May the 1st, 2026 to May 31st, 2026 in the amount of $1,396,989.08 be approved for payment. Those purchases include the total quick pays of $12,015.37, total accounts payable $797,751.71, total direct withdrawals of $583,336.02, and total debit card transactions of $3,885.98.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any questions for the Director of Finance or any administration on those? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. All right, rural water hookup request. We'll look to Director of Engineering Cugnett for that one, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Weyburn Utility Board has requested approval to hook up 1 new residential water service. The owner confirmed satisfactory sewage disposal arrangements, and based on estimated residential demands, we can handle the additional requirement on our water system. The $10,000 connection fee for rural residential water connections will apply. It is recommended the following requests be approved for residential water service to Donald and Sherilyn Poirier, Southwest 6, 9-14, west of the 2nd.
Thank you. That's quick. An motion, please.
Your Worship, I would move that Council approve the request for residential water service for the following: Donald and Sherilyn Poirier, Southwest 6914, 15 West 2nd.
Yes. A seconder, please.
Your worship, I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. Questions for the Director of Engineering on this one? Nobody needs more clarification. Could you just briefly just remind us why these come to council and what the process is for getting them approved beyond us?
Yep, they come through to council because they have to submit a request to the Weyburn Utility Board. That's who administers the water. Weyburn Utility Board is one of our main rural customers for our distribution water system. So then we have the final approval say, and then we do collect that connection fee. So it's $10,000 for the residential to cover the administrative and the additional demand on our infrastructure that we need to distribute the water.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. Anybody else? Questions, comments? All right. Hearing none, then I will call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Next up, back to the Director of Engineering for the landfill expansion project.
Okay. In 2023, the city retained Eco Engineering Limited to design an improved engineered filling cell on the historical and existing waste disposal ground, WDG, upgrading that existing WDG into an engineered facility to satisfy the Ministry of Environment requirements. This project's objective is to establish a long-term regional facility by increasing the capacity and extending the lifespan of the existing facility while meeting those provincial regulations, ultimately delaying the need to build a new facility or divert that solid waste to a larger neighboring community. Eco Engineering Limited completed the design of the landfill expansion in 2024, which consists of an engineered horizontal and vertical filling cell on the existing WDG, including the incorporation of a leachate collection system, decommissioning of the existing open face, and a phased engineering filling plan to maximize all the available airspace in the existing footprint. This will allow the city to continue to operate the existing solid waste facility while meeting all provincial regulatory requirements. This expansion project will benefit the community of Weyburn and surrounding rural communities by remaining an affordable and accessible essential service for the city of Weyburn and surrounding rural area. In 2026, the 2026 budget has an allocated $3.2 million for the landfill expansion project that will be funded by an external loan. In November of 2025, the City Engineering Department applied for funding of the project for a 2026-27 project budget of approximately $4.5 million under the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, or CHIF. Eligible infrastructure projects under the CHIF Provincial Territorial Stream Fall 2025 intake included drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, and solid waste management systems. The city expects to receive notification of the status of the funding application at the end of June 2026. On April 29th, 2026, the construction of the landfill expansion, Stage 1, request for proposal was posted on the city's online bidding portal, Bids and Tenders, SAS Tenders, and the city's website. Proposals were received by the City of Weyburn as of May 15th, 2026 at 4 p.m. A total of 3 proposals were received and summarized below. All proposals submitted were reviewed by the city's consultant, Eco Engineering, and the city's engineering department to ensure bidders submitted all response requirements and could meet the project objectives and deliverables. Eco Engineering conducted a detailed evaluation of proposals based on the evaluation criteria below. So 10% was weighted to project understanding, 10% to the schedule, 30% for project experience and competency, and 50% for the bid price. All proposals met the response requirements with varying degrees of relevant experience and competency and understanding and knowledge of the work scope, regulatory requirements, and risks. The summary of Eco Engineering's score ranking results are included below. GB Construction Co. Limited achieved the highest overall mark with the second highest technical score. This indicates strong competitiveness in project understanding, relevant experience, and overall capability to complete the work, with the least amount of financial and scheduling risks. KBL projects achieved the highest technical rating, which also indicates strong competitiveness in the project understanding, experience, and capability to complete the work. However, KBL provided the highest cost, which is $1 million higher than GB Construction. Torrent Energy Services provided the lowest overall project cost, approximately $40,000 lower than GB, but scored the lowest in the overall ranking, indicating the lowest technical competitiveness, which often results in higher financial and scheduling risks to the overall project. It is recommended that the landfill expansion construction project be awarded to GB Construction Co. Limited for the proposed bid price of $4,780,832.40, including taxes, with this overage covered by an increase to the external loan that's funding the project budget.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's get a motion to get this on the floor.
Your worship, I would move that the landfill expansion construction project be awarded to GB Construction Company Limited for the proposed bid price of $4,780,832.40, including taxes, with the overage covered by an increase to the external loan that's funding the project budget.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
All right, let's start with some questions. Who's first? Councillor Sidlowski.
Thanks, Director Cognant. I guess I don't have as much of a question as I thought I'd potentially provide, or you could expand upon afterwards, maybe a little bit further information on this. This is a substantial budget item, and it's a hard one for any of us to face, obviously, but this has been mandated by the ministry, and we are required to do this to keep the landfill open. Is that correct?
So the ministry, as a recommendation that we received in 2023, was to start operating out of an engineered filling cell. The engineered filling cell consists of an appropriate liner, leachate collection. In that cell, it is easier to control the compaction and covering and leachate collection, which is ultimately, yes, the ministry requirement to operate, so yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess this just highlights the importance of building relationships with the other levels of government, and we have had multiple conversations with the provincial and federal counterparts, as this is a large budgetary item, and it isn't something that municipalities face with an easy decision, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good clarification. Thank you.
I would just like to expand a little bit
please.
on the funding, if I may.
Yeah.
So the CHIF funding is a federal funding stream that is managed and administered by the provincial government, and the provincial government is required in this provincial territorial stream, which we applied for, to contribute up to 30% of that funding as well. And it really depends on the agreement, the Canada-Saskatchewan agreement, depending on what they come up with for their agreement, which is what we're waiting for, hopefully to hear by the end of June here, on how much funding would be available and how much percentage of my full application will be up to the municipality to contribute. So it's up in the air right now, but yeah, I'm hopeful that, yeah, they'll fund a majority of the project if we are a successful candidate.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Corrigan?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just in regards to the CHIF program, do you have any idea of what the maximum amount would be that would be eligible for of a $4.7 million project?
That total 4.7 million would all be eligible for funding.
Right, so
Yeah.
would that mean that they might fund the entire thing?
That is a possibility.
But unlikely.
I can't comment.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, of projects that are similar to this around the province, have you talked to anybody as to what the percentage is that they typically get for something like this?
Yes, so Councillor Corrigan, I'll speak to that. So back in March, the province of Saskatchewan did approve projects through that program, where it was about 40% federal, 30-ish% coming from both the province and from the municipality. But it varies from project to project. Will they fund the full amount? Highly unlikely. But usually the process for that is usually between a 30 or 40% split for federal, and then 30 or 40 for provincial, and the rest is municipal.
Yeah.
There's no set guideline that way, but that's what we've seen for those applications that happened in Moose Jaw, Regina, and Saskatoon for that first award.
Okay. Thank you, City Manager Warren. And I get that. I mean, they're not going to fund the entire thing. We're going to have some, but at least it looks like they would fund a significant amount when they're mandating us to have to do this. Because it's that top-down sort of, as Councillor Sidlowski was referring to, it's that top-down regulatory, I wouldn't even call it incentives, but programs that we have to abide by when we have so many other things within the community that need attention also. So here's a hypothetical. And I don't like talking hypotheticals, but here's the question that I would ask, is if we were not to do this project at all, and say to the provincial government, whoever's mandating it, we can't afford to do this. We're stretched to the limit. We don't have the money to do it, regardless of how much you're giving to us for it. What would happen?
There's potential. We have a really good working relationship with the Ministry of Environment and with our provincial government. So I'd hope that we could work to an agreement of some sort. They have already allowed us 3 years to come up with, the appropriate funding and potentially apply for other available funding, as long as we could show and prove to them that we were working towards meeting those regulatory requirements, reducing our leachate, filling in a somewhat of a engineered cell that's controlled. So I don't really have an answer for you. Sorry.
Well, I guess the question that I'm asking is, if we basically ignored the mandate to put the funding into a project such as this, would they shut it down at some point?
I would hope not, but there is always, they are our regulating body. They do issue our permit to operate. As of right now, we used to have a multi, 5+ year permit to operate. They have reduced that now to 1 to 2 years renewals now, waiting to see our progression towards these, fulfilling these requirements. Again, I mean, I'd hope that we could work together. So I can't, yeah.
But I'm always looking at.
There's always that risk.
Yeah, I look at worst case scenarios. If there is that potential.
There's a risk, yeah.
That if the scenario ever arose, I mean, we may not be the only community that runs into a scenario like this. And, when costs are escalating like this and you're starting to look at, $5 million now and $5 million later for a landfill, there are going to be communities, I think, in the province that are going to say, no, we're not doing this. And, I mean, is the province going to shut down landfills? And then what? What's our option then? Are we trucking all this into Regina or Saskatoon or what? It seems to me that we're getting all these mandates to do these sorts of projects, which I don't disagree with, because it is part of running a city and it's part of our infrastructure, but there has to be those questions asked. And I'm just curious as to what would happen if, what about a smaller community like Melville or Humboldt or someplace like that? Could they afford a $5 million hit? I don't know if they can. when you have so much other infrastructure in your community to take care of also. So I'm more of a comment than a question. I'm sorry. It's my rant on this one, and it's one that I just had to make that comment.
Yeah, Councilor Corrigan, I appreciate your sentiment because I think we're all feeling it. This is something that's been sort of foisted upon us that now we're dealing with. And yeah, we absolutely want to be compliant. We want to do the right thing for our landfill, for our province, for all of the things. So now it's a struggle, right? Now we battle to do the funding piece. So Councilor Bador, were you putting your hand up? Sorry. Yeah.
One more.
You bet. Oh, lots of time, yeah.
So it was more about the if and I'll try to predict the future. When we get the funding
Yes.
from the different levels of government, what happens to that money that we budgeted for? That just goes, we're saying, hey, we're not taking out the loan, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'll answer to that, Councilor Bador. We would just reduce what we do for external loan. It's an external loan, what we're doing for the project, which is something we don't want to do for this kind of a project, but we need to do for this kind of a project. So if the certain funding comes in, we'd just have to reduce what we have to do for external loan, which will then cut back on what multi-year payments are going to happen. Because whenever we have an external loan, we have to provide into budget multi-year payback for that project as well.
Yep. Good question. Councilor Janke?
Director Cognate, I do share Councillor Corrigan's concern that a different level of government is kind of spending Weyburn ratepayers' money. Can you ease that concern a little bit by explaining what the benefit to Weyburn other than compliance is with this project? You've done a great job of explaining the technical aspects of it, but what does it actually do that will make things better for people who use the dump?
So this project is essentially going to extend the life of the landfill for up to another 50 years without, I mean, I know we're talking a large capital cost here, but if you compare the capital cost of acquiring the land, the suitable location and land to build brand new, it is significantly higher. There is a mandate to get approval to build to meet even like all of these same requirements, if not even more. So the benefit is we're gonna have a site. We already have the footprint and the existing site, so we're gonna expand that capacity and life expectancy of our existing site. So it'll remain a regional, sustainable facility, solid waste facility in our region. Just to expand on what Councillor Corrigan spoke to on, smaller communities in this region, that actually is the case. There's a lot of smaller rural communities that have closed their traditional, as your quote, dumps, because they can't afford to meet the ministry requirements for an engineered cell and an engineered facility. And we are in the heart of Southeast Saskatchewan, and we are servicing the regional community in this area. So we're serving all these small communities that have had to close their dumps to come here. So it benefits, there's multiple benefits to it.
All right, that's great. That answers my first question. The other one I was going to ask you is it fair to say that other municipalities, other landfills have applied this same engineered fill site and seen that kind of success? I realize they may not have the kind of time to extend, but has this worked elsewhere?
Yeah, so the main facilities around this area, like Regina, Estevan, the gap disposal, they are all mandated and operating under the ministry's, under the Ministry of Environment. So they are meeting those same requirements and are continuing to operate and are seeing they're serving larger areas because, that large rural surrounding area around those facilities the waste is all being diverted to these large engineered facilities, so, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Morissette?
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. Mine's going to be a super easy one, Director Cognate. Thank you, first of all, for all of the information and providing the rankings that Eco Engineering gave to you. It makes our decision a lot easier when we have that information. BG Construction, have we worked with them as a city before, or is this a new relationship?
Yes, so GB has worked for the city of Weyburn before. They have a field office located in the RM of Weyburn, and their main office is located in Kipling. They have worked on our Lift Station 3 new build, and they've completed stormwater and water main repairs for the city before as well.
And we're happy with their work?
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll just look around. Councillor Morissette opened up what I was going to ask you, and you touched on some, but I appreciate that you have engaged a third party to help with this project, Eco Engineering. Can you just briefly, their involvement in the project to this point and going forward, kind of where do they fit into all this?
Yes, so back in 2023, we did put out a request for proposals for the design of an engineered cell, specifically on our existing footprint. Eco Engineering was awarded that work. They got right to work on doing all of the background data collection, environmental assessments, as well as designing based on what we had on our site, a site-specific design. Our site-specific design is actually very unique in a way that it is also designed to utilize tire-derived aggregate. So we will be one of the first communities in Saskatchewan to be using this TDA, tire-derived aggregate, in our leachate collection system. Yeah, so very exciting. And they have worked through the last couple years on not only the design, but the permitting. We need permits to construct. We need special permits for storage of the TDA. They have been working closely with the Ministry of Environment as well to make sure that their design is going to meet all the requirements. They've also built a good relationship with the ministry and the city, working towards a feasible option, to work with what we have on site, site-specific, as well as meeting all the applicable requirements and regulations. And then they also did the tendering for the project. So they did their conceptual design, and then that conceptual design goes into the detailed design, which is tendered out or RFP'd out for proposals. And then they collected all the proposals and did the full bid evaluation, provided my department with a recommendation from a technical evaluation that I then brought to you. So then they will be also continuing to manage the construction of the project to make sure the awarded contractor can meet the design requirements as well. So, yeah.
And this isn't their first landfill, as the old saying is. They've got some experience, so
yeah.
That's great, and I appreciate that. All right, last call before we call the question. Any more questions, comments? No? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you for your work on this. This is hard, and I appreciate a 3-year journey, really, to get here. So thank you very much for that. All right, let's move on. I love it when engineers are talking about big projects and they go, it's very exciting. And Councillor Bador made this face. Anyways, in the absence of Councillor Haig, somebody had to say something. Listen, we got no bylaws to introduce tonight, no unfinished business. We have one item under new business, and that is a home-based business application. So we will look to Planning and Development Coordinator Malcolm for this one, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. An application has been received to operate a customized product engraving business out of the residence at 542 Elizabeth Street, legally described as Lot 1-2, Block 146, Plan Z5298, located in the R2 zone. The proposed use is considered a controversial home-based business as it involves clients attending the residence throughout the day. The applicant has indicated proposed hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Based on the information provided, the anticipated traffic impact is expected to be minimal, with approximately 1 vehicle per client pickup and drop-off. On-street parking is also available to accommodate these visits. The zoning bylaw does require that home-based businesses deemed controversial, particularly those involving clients visiting the residence, be subject to a neighborhood notification process and obtain council approval. In accordance with these requirements, neighborhood notices were distributed on May 15th to all property owners within a 50-meter radius of the subject property. Recipients were provided an opportunity to submit comments regarding the application. However, no concerns or objections were received. So this is just a location of where the proposed business is. So decision options. Option 1, council approves home-based business permit 2026.003 at 542 Elizabeth Street, subject to the following conditions. No person other than a resident of the dwelling unit shall be engaged in the home-based business as an employee or volunteer. No advertisement carrying the address of the dwelling in which the home-based business occurs may be placed in any media. The home-based business shall not occupy more than 25% of the gross floor area of the dwelling. This permit is only valid for the above address and is non-transferable to another address. Reapplication will be required if the business moves locations. Home-based businesses are subject to periodic review to ensure compliance, and a City of Weyburn business license shall be obtained prior to the operation of the business. Option 2, refusal of home-based business permit 2026.003 at 542 Elizabeth Street. A permit must have a reason for refusal. A staff recommendation that council approves option 1, being the approval of home-based business permit 2026.003 at 542 Elizabeth Street, subject to the conditions listed above.
Thank you, Coordinator Malcolm. Who's got a motion for this one?
Your worship, I'll move the council approve option number 1, being the approval of the home-based business permit 2026-003 at 542 Elizabeth Street, subject to the conditions listed in the report.
Thank you. Seconder?
Your worship, I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments for Coordinator Malcolm on this one? Councillor Bador.
Well, this is exciting.
Well, this is exciting.
It is
well
exciting,
said, sir.
But I just want to say this is exciting for a couple reasons, and I do get questioned a little bit about home-based businesses. And our goal here, I believe, is this is maybe a smaller startup business, and our goal is that it blows up so much they have to move downtown and grow that business. So it's something we take into consideration as maybe a small startup that we want to hopefully grow so much that they have to move into a new location.
Thanks for saying that. Others? Before we go on, the Director of Engineering made a similar expression to the one you made during her very exciting presentation as well. Okay, if there's nothing else, then I will call the question. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Coordinator Malcolm, for that. And you're right, Councillor Bador, it is good to see the entrepreneurial spirit alive and well and continuing to grow. All right, that is new business. On to inquiries and announcements, and I expect there are a few. Who would like to start? Councillor Janke.
The Southeast Oil and Gas Show went fairly smoothly. We had the nicest weather in recent memory for that event. It's a huge economic event for the city, so I want to thank everybody who's involved in that. I know a lot of people worked very hard to put that on, and I'm going to try to embarrass our own Pat Maloney, who's here tonight, who was honored as a longtime friend of the show. And he's not blushing at all, so I have failed. But regardless, thanks for all your hard work, Pat.
Yes, that was great. Next up, anybody? Yeah, I would emphasize that. It was an incredible show. Numbers were up, both at attendance and exhibitors, I think. And yeah, Mother Nature was on our side. Yes, Councillor Sadlowski.
I'll also add to that because we should probably thank all the city staff.
We absolutely should.
We had a pile of people come up to us throughout the show and say how great the city staff was. They turned on a dime when they needed to. They were there ready to help at any moment. So thank you to them for that.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Morissette?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to thank Harper again for all of your work. It's been a joy having you here, and congratulate you and the rest of the class of 2026. There will be a parade on Saturday. Hopefully they'll be posting the parade route soon, so hopefully members of the public can get out and congratulate the grads themselves. And if anybody has any extra Kleenex, I would be very happy to take it on because my daughter is also graduating.
I would ask if City Manager, there's been some questioning about the condition of our water tower following the big wind event here a couple of weeks back. If you could just give us just a brief update on where we're at.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, that was a large wind event. So when you
Is
see
that what we call it now, a wind event?
Yeah, well, when you see 102 km/h winds come through a community, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And we were rated pretty high in Canada to see when that wind event came through. So there's been some initial work done to the water tower right after the damage happened. So the damage was there was some removal of old handrail, and then there was some wood damage to a section of the roof. So initially what we did was we actually worked on getting some contractors in with cranes to help remove those items from that part of the water tower, and then do some initial reviews of that and start our insurance claim. So insurance claim has started on that. So initially right now we actually have Mega Dry in this week doing remediation work to the water tower itself. And then we also have JCK Engineering. They're a structural engineer. So they're going to come and review the water tower itself and actually provide recommendations on work that has to be done. So at this point, we don't know what work needs to be done, but as indicated that we have insurance started, and then once we know that structural work, we'll come back with a review of the work that needs to be done. The water tower is a very important building in this community, and we're taking our time to make sure that we do the proper work to fix what happened and put some more stability actually into that as well as move forward. And that's why it's really important to have a structural engineer review that and take the time to review that properly. For anyone who lives in the area, we have made that area safe with all the work that was done. We do thank our local contractors who came in to help us through that process. Now it's just trying to find out those options of what we can do after that. So,
great. Yeah. Appreciate your diligence, your team on this, because it's an important, you're right, it's an important piece of our history.
yeah, big work is happening. So Richard Henning and his group through the Leisure Services are doing the work on that. Making sure the experts are there, and it is a historical building. So going back to the engineering firm that we actually have for the structural engineering work, they've actually done work on the Humboldt water tower and also the one in Melfort. So it's not some people who've never looked at water towers before. They actually have the expertise in that.
We don't build a lot of those anymore.
They don't build a lot of those that way. So yeah, so Brad and his team are doing a great job trying to look at that way.
It's good to hear. Thanks for your diligence. Councillor Sadlowski, I'm going to go grab that thing out of the corner. Do you want to let everybody know what's happening next week?
Thank you, Your Worship. We are a week and a couple days away from the Golden Garbage Can, so we thank everyone who got a head start during Way Clean Week. The community is looking great. The rain has helped green everything up a little.
Mayor Tony, sorry.
And we are looking forward to bringing the Golden Garbage Can back. So stay tuned for some fun lead up, I suppose.
I think so. Yes, appreciate your leadership on that. It's coming back, Harper. We cannot, after you leave, we cannot have this happen. We have to have it here, right? Absolutely. Okay. It's all the last thing I can do for you as youth mayor is to bring the Golden Garbage Can back. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, all right. That's it. We'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today